Hello everybody. This is a look at how you can emulate assembly for ARM in Python. So I'm not going to go into what assembly is, partly because I'm not an expert on the subject, but like this article says, in my opinion, it's much more beneficial learning high-level language than a specific architecture assembler. But I fancied learning some ARM assembler just for fun. I think it's nice to know what goes on really at a low level, or just to be aware of it. So without further ado, I've written some code, and if I just do Python hello, we fire up to your server. It's running Flask and GUI, running on 127. Let's open that in the browser, and here we go. So we've got Python 360 ARM assembly. If you want the code, or if you want to discuss the project, subscribe, drop me a comment and all that. So what does this actually do? We'll look at the code in a minute. I'll just demo what this does, and hopefully you'll be interested enough to continue watching the video. So what we're going to do is just do some really basic. This drop down is just giving me 2 bits of ready-made code, or ready-made assembly, should we call it. So the first one is just, all it's doing is doing move R1, so it's putting number 1 into register 1, number 5 into register 2, and then it's moving it's adding register 1 and register 2 to put the result into register 3, and then I'm moving register 3 into R1, and then the result will appear in R1. And we've got an error, which is quite... Sorry about that sound of a motorbike, some absolute muppet out there. Let's run this again. And I don't know if I did something wrong there. Yeah, that worked. I don't know what happened there, but that's the beauty of doing a live demo, isn't it? Or almost live demo. So we've got 6. What happened was, go back to the code. We put 1 into register 1, 5 into register 2, and then we added register 1 and register 2 contents, and then we put the result into register 3, and then at the end we moved register 3 value into register 1, and then register 1 is what gets printed out at the end here, so register 1 equals 6. So effectively we're using assembly as a calculator here, so some very basic mathematics. So let's go and have a look at the string one as well, and I don't fully understand all the syntax yet, so yeah, all I'm doing is taking some examples, loading them into my assembly Flask Python code, and seeing what happens. So what we've got here is register 0 is empty, which is fine. Then we've got some bytecode, and if you look across here, we're getting some more verbose output here. So on the right hand side, let me just move that over because my ugly mug is blocking it. So hopefully that's big enough to read, is it? We've got the code here, or the assembly rather. I keep calling it code. It is code, isn't it? Assembling the ARM code. Code successfully assembled, which is good. And then ARM bytecode, and you can see the string hello in here as well. So assembly is kind of the last layer before it gets converted into noughts and ones. So these will obviously then get converted and passed to a device driver, and then through the internet or across a network as noughts and ones on some copper or through some fiber. Right, so that is a demo. If you want to actually see what went on with the creation of this project, I'm just going to fire up Visual Studio Code, and we'll look at the Python code to start with. So it's just Flask. From Flask, import Flask render template request, app name, default root, and render template. And all we're doing with the render template is we are passing, let me just make that a bit bigger. With the render template, we're passing it back to the same page, and then we are picking out name 1 and name 2. Name 1 and name 2 are basically parts 1 and part 2 of a tuple, which are returned from this. Now, I didn't write all this code. I've kind of found it and tweaked it a little bit. So it's using Unicorn and something called Keystone, which I've not come across before. So all this code was just printing stuff. So I've turned it into a function on line 9. And I'm passing in it's called, the variable's called arm code, which is what is coming from an input box. And this has not been formatted very nicely, but you get the idea. So the input box is actually it's called arm, and the ID is title. So then we're getting title and we're passing that as a value, and then we're printing it when we run the code. So if we just run that again. I did it in VM just so that I could make a requirements.txt should I need to. So yeah, so whatever comes into here, that's going to give me an error. So I need to add some more error handling, note to self. But the default code which I've included, I just wanted to it's almost like an automated test really. So if we look at this goes along all the way across here. So I'm putting in move R1, so it's putting 1 into R1 here, 5 into R2, and then this is what you saw on the screen. So my idea is to add more of these, to add some more default code, and then where this drop down is, maybe have sort of 6 or 7 things. And also, once it's in here, you can still modify it. So if we moved 3 into R1, 5 into R2, yeah, so we get the result 8. My plan is to write this code to improve my knowledge of assembly, and also just to kind of leave it in the background, but gradually build and build and build and build it until it becomes something quite useful. And who knows, I may even host it on a web server on the interweb and everybody can have a go on it. So yeah, just a quick project really, using Flask, somebody else's code for the ARM assembly. And yeah, it's a nice project idea really, because there's a lot of more things that you could do with this. I might actually modify this and make it into a base 58 encoder as well, so it may not just be ARM assembly. I could make an encoder, a SHA-256 hash program. So yeah, one of the things that gave me some inspiration for this, if you're interested, is I wonder if I can find it and show it to you. It was I don't like things that are called blockchain anymore, because it normally implies some sort of horrible crypto scam. But this was written 4 years ago, and I think it's got to be the best demo of a blockchain. Again, I think this has been written probably in, I don't know, Flask or Python, but Blockchain 101, a visual demo. So I kind of got some inspiration from this really, and yeah, just to kind of make it easier to test things and teach yourself stuff, you can kind of knock up something in Flask, and yeah, it's just easier to experiment with things when you've got a nice GUI in front of you. Here, what he's doing here is he's creating blocks. So you see block 4, block 5, and you can see that the previous hash of block 5 is the hash of block 4, and yeah, this is 2.2 million views 6 years ago. What a epic video. I don't think my video will get that many views, but you know, we live in hope. And please subscribe, and I'll leave you on that bombshell. Thank you.